Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his good friend Emil. And we're talking about book number 2, which is now available on Amazon, 15 Conversations with Real Estate Millionaires. That is the title.
Can we see it? Can we see it again?
Yeah, sure. I got a couple of flavors of it. This is the paperback. There's a couple things just about the formatting that's interesting. First and foremost, it's color.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I added color because, again, I'm highlighting my experts in the end of the book. I highlight my spreadsheet I use for positive impact score. And that's why the book costs so much more, because it's really cheap in black and white. But when you want color and multiple colors, damn, Amazon really charges you. So the book's more expensive, but in reality, it's going to be well worth it, right? The first book at $15 is my story. And now at $30, it's 15 stories plus all the extras. So yeah, the book is more expensive, but certainly worth it, and a steal at $30. But a lot of it's because it's color. I had no idea having all this color would make it so expensive.
Yeah, that's interesting. Good to know for anyone who's
there you go
publishing.
Yeah, you might want to go black and white.
All right. So last video we talked about why, and now I'm curious about the how. So specifically, how is this different? From what you wrote? You mentioned it, but we'll talk a little bit more about it. No. And then how is it different from what's already out there? Like, there's a lot of real estate books. Why do you think this one's different?
Well, I think this one is different because, frankly, and I've admitted this a couple of times now, I stole an idea from Gary Keller. Gary Keller has that blue and white real estate millionaire book, which is awesome. I read it. It's the book I recommend after Rich Dad, Poor Dad. But what most people don't realize is I don't recommend it because of the 90% or 95%. For me, what I remember literally sitting in my bed at night, we had like 6-7 units, tearing those last 20 pages apart because it was the stories of other investors. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not like the other part of his book. It's just like, hey, this is, Mary Smith and Bob. They did this, they did this, they did this. I think every investor's a page or maybe a page and a half. But I know that I tore those apart and I looked at those seemingly every other day for years because I needed to believe this was going to work. And There was nothing out there, right? There was a couple of things. And that's really where the idea for one rental at a time came from is, hey, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is what I did. This is how it ended, which is, nearly 180 or 200 pages. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to take Gary Keller's simple idea and I wanted to blow it out. So everybody's story is probably, 12 or 13 pages long. We take their interviews from the channel. We break them down into different pieces. The guest or the investor talks, and then I summarize. And it's just like it's just different, man. And what I hope happens is people read it cover to cover. And then if it's me, I'm going to look at, the 3 chapters or the 3 guests that spoke to me. Because again, I picked 15 wide ranging guests and they likely, and they probably shouldn't speak. All chapters shouldn't speak to all people on purpose. That was the design. But my hope is you see probably 3 to 6 or 7 that are like, I'm going back. I'm reading that again. I needed that reminder. Sometimes when you're starting this, right, you got 0, you got 2, you just want to read about the finish line.
Right.
Just so you know that you are on the right track. There's a reminder. And that's what Gary Keller's book for me did in a page and a half. So I took that simple idea and, blew it up to 15 stories. And frankly, I'm already toying with the idea of, who are going to be the next 15 great stories. I just think so many people need help, right? I didn't write about doing Burr. So I have 2 people in the book talking about Burr. I have out-of-state investors. I have somebody in their 70s talking about how she's unwinding, right? Which is totally something I'm just not there yet, but it's great to talk about. I have people doing seller, buying and doing seller financing. And there's just 15 cool stories I just hope resonates with folks. So again, shout out Gary Keller's book. But this one I think goes next level and brings 15 cool stories out.
Awesome. that was actually going to be my next question for you is what kind of strategies are covered? So you mentioned Burr, you mentioned out of state. How did you land on the strategies or stories to cover?
It's that was quite the process. I do a lot of videos, and what I really tried to do was go back and I tried to storyboard stories, and I tried to make sure it was as wide ranging, but still unique. I can weave my themes, right? Again, right. What do I talk about? Do the work, learn your market, live below your means, kind of all of my things. So it weaves in there. But again, I wanted to talk about things that I don't know, right? One of the things in there, we talked about a kid and a young man, a family in their 20s buying their first home in Southern California with a 203K loan. And, what that has led to with wedge deals and all these other things. And it's just, it was fun. It was fun trying to put the full picture out there and yet try to weave my consistent messages. It was a challenge, but it was also fun.
Okay. Very nice. Did the people you covered, do they know they're in your book, or is
No.
it a fun surprise?
It'll be a fun surprise. One of the things I was thinking about is, so everybody's a guest,
right?
But obviously these guests have interviews on my channel. So I will eventually create a playlist, say guest 1, guest 2, guest 3. So you obviously can know who they are. This is all in the public domain, but there's a couple of things. I've interviewed some pretty big people, and I didn't want to name them for fear of, I don't know, their legal teams are bigger than my legal teams. So I just call them guests. There's no names in there. But also I didn't want it to be about the names. I wanted it to be about the story. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to sell based on somebody else's reputation. That's not who I am. So they don't know. I've told a few people that, hey, your chapter this, your chapter that, but no, nobody knows.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. I thought you had the names of your guests in there. That's pretty cool. Actually, I like that.
No, I toyed with it. I think it would have been a much longer process. They probably would have, some of them are big. They would have asked probably for editorial control, probably.
Right.
And no, I thought it would be I think the stories stand by themselves. There's no indication of who they are. Some of the stories have been told by themselves enough that you're like, I know who that is, but it's not from me.
Awesome. Okay. I have a couple more questions, but we'll save it for our last video.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Again, the book now is on Amazon. Another interesting thing is Amazon allows me to do paperback or hardcover.
Oh, nice.
So
do you have the hardcover version?
I do not with me, because they just launched it a week ago. I might be one of the first books they're actually putting in hardcover. So nice. I don't even have an author copy yet, which I should get Wednesday. So yeah, it's pretty cool. And again, just so there's no surprises, the paperback version is $30, $29.99. A lot of that's because of the color that I insisted on having. And the hardcover is going to be $34.99, I think. Again, a lot of that's because color, and I think it was important to put there. But again, 15 stories. The first book's $15, just my story. So I think it's an even trade. Thanks, buddy.
You got it.